Jen Mall, and welcome to Nurse Connect. I am an RN and a board certified nurse coach. I believe that connecting with others is essential to living a happy and fulfilled life, and that sharing our stories not only helps us to heal ourselves, but also helps others by inspiring hope and optimism. I am so grateful to share stories of these incredible nurses on their journey, and I encourage you to find a way to share yours too. Thanks for listening in. Hi, everybody. Welcome back. I'm Jen Mall, and I'm super happy to have Kelly here with me today. Welcome.
Hi, I'm so honored to be here. Thank you so much for having me.
Absolutely. Well, Kelly and I connected for the first time at a conference a couple months ago, and it was just such an amazing experience. We were just reminiscing on that, but I'm just so grateful that we've connected in this nurse coaching space, and I finally talked you into coming on.
Thank you. I just want to put it out there. I was a little nervous about it, but you always put me at ease, Jen. So I know that whatever
Thank
we have to
you.
talk about is going to be powerful.
Absolutely. I really do believe that usually when we start talking, what is meant to be will absolutely come forward. So, but why don't we start with you taking us back? How did you become a nurse? What has kind of your journey been?
Okay, yeah. So that's really taken us back. I have been a nurse for a long time. So I'll actually start in childhood. So I knew when I was 12 that I wanted to be a
Oh,
nurse.
I
My
love that.
mom had a really good friend, and she had stopped by the house one day, and we were really close with his family, and she was in her nurse outfit, and she was talking about how she could just care for others. And I thought, when I grow up, I'm going to be a nurse. And that's exactly
Oh, oh,
what I
that
did.
gave me chills. I love it.
I thought this is it. And I just always knew that, like, a servant's heart, like I just always wanted to
Mhm,
care for others.
mhm,
And so I started my nursing career in my young 20s. And I started actually as an LPN.
mm.
And then I went back to school for my RN, and then years later got my bachelor's, and then keep climbing, right? I think us nurses in our alphabet of initials.
Uh-huh.
But I started on an orthopedic unit, and I loved it. I liked it. I worked night shift. And so any of the nurses out there that's worked night shift, we all know how it can
Yes.
go. But you honestly sometimes have one of the most, like, I guess, personal conversations with your clients at night,
Hmm.
because when they're in the hospital, they're not sleepy and they're
Hmm.
uncomfortable. So I honestly enjoyed my nights with them. And
Hmm.
then I went back to school and became an RN. And then I transferred. So I moved closer to home. So I was about an hour away.
Hmm.
And I worked ICU and PCU. And again, everything that I've done, I've loved. I mean, I've
Yeah.
never really been in a unit that I didn't really like. And I finally had the opportunity to transfer into our ambulatory surgery, so day
Mm-hmm.
surgery, and I loved it. I had such
Mm-hmm.
great, like, phenomenal nurses I worked with, and so I did that. And then, of course, family started, right? Like, I had my son in 2009, and then I transitioned out of the hospital, and I kept a PRN position up until 2020
Mm-hmm.
at a local college in the health
Mm-hmm.
clinic. So I was in charge of running the flu clinic. I would just go in, and when one of the nurses full-time needed off, I'd go in and fill in for them.
Mm-hmm.
And again, I loved that position. Like, it was nice to talk with the college students and kind of see where they're at and, like, their dreams, and just care for them. And I really loved it. But as like anybody in 2020, the world
Mm-hmm.
changed, and my
Mm-hmm.
position really was just eliminated.
Mm.
The college was shut down for obviously a long time, and I just thought, okay, what am I going to do? Like, right? Like, what am I going to do? And so the funny thing is, I started looking, like, probably in 2018. I found an email that I
Mm-hmm.
must have sent to, from the, the nurse coach, or the nurse coach collective, to from Heather and Peter. And I'm like, okay, we're like in 2020, and I'm still
Yeah.
trying to figure things out. So I actually got through 2020, but it was a big year for me. So in
Mm-hmm.
that year, on a personal level, we had 4 losses out of our family, and it was not due
Mm-hmm.
to COVID, but it was profound, like, in
Yeah.
my family. And 2 of them helped raise me. So,
Mm.
it was a lot. And
Yeah.
then, and you're dealing with what was going on in the world. So I felt a little lost, not going to be,
Hmm.
there was a part, I was like, okay, what am I going to do here? And then 2020 rolls around and my body started showing me symptoms like, hey, something's not right. Like something, I started just noticing, um, brown spots on my face, to be truthful.
Mm.
And I thought, oh, okay, what is this? And this little cues, right? Like I wasn't sleeping well.
Hmm.
I was more irritable. And so I went to the dermatologist and he was like, well, two things. There's a mole we're going to take off. I don't like it.
Yeah.
And two, you're in perimenopause. And I went, what? Why is my dermatologist telling me I'm in perimenopause?
Yeah.
Let's bring attention to that real quick.
And
Wouldn't it be
how
your
old were
OB?
you at that
I was
time?
42,
Wow.
42. And so I was like, okay. And this is in 20. So at this time, yeah, 2021. And so I was like, okay, well, what do I do in perimenopause? Like, what do you do? Like, what happens? And so and then so I guess backing up, I didn't even know really much about perimenopause. I know
Yeah.
we've been in the medical field forever.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, it really wasn't talked about.
No.
I feel like in the last year, it's finally getting its voice into the community.
Hmm.
Um, but it just wasn't spoke about. And everybody's symptom is so different.
Yes.
And we all experience it so differently. Little did I know was how it was truly going to affect me on
Mm.
a personal level. But before I could handle what was about to come, my results came back from my mole and I had melanoma on my
Oh
neck.
my goodness.
And thank God they caught it and it's fine and it didn't spread.
Yeah.
I was very fortunate, but it
Yeah.
just shows like I was just going in for a routine check and they caught it. So
Wow.
that was in July of, 2020. And then now I'm in 2021. And again, all these symptoms are coming up. And so in August of 2021, the symptoms had just gotten severe. Like I started
Mm.
noticing just some anxiety I never had or
Hmm.
experienced. And my heart started having palpitations. And it really, I'm not going to get into all of it because it was a lot, but it was a
Yeah.
lot. And so it brought awareness to me of like, I had really some difficult times there, those 4 months, just trying to figure it all out and going to
Yeah.
doctors and finally coming out on the other side now where I'm at, I was able to seek the help, but I had to fight for the help. Like it
Yes.
wasn't there readily. And so fast forwarding, I stumbled across another email and I was like, what is this nurse coaching? Like, I think I just need to figure this out. Like I need something. So I ended up having a phone call, discovery call with Heather. And I just thought, you know what? I just need something from me. Like I need something to feel myself again.
Hmm.
But before I became a coach, I became a client because I
Oh,
thought if I'm going to invest in something, like I
right.
need to know what this is.
Yeah.
So I became a client and I fell in love with it. And then I was like, okay, I want to be a nurse coach because I want to be the voice for women
Yes.
that feel lost, feel like they get lost in this chaos of life. And it may not be perimenopause, it may be trauma, it may be something that has affected them in their life or going on currently. And I thought, I just need to be a voice, I need to be an advocate to help them. And
Hmm.
so it's like I've been through enough in my life that I'm like, you know what, personally I can empathize and be there. And professionally, it's like I've had 30 years underneath my belt in the medical field. And it's like, okay, I can do this. So
Absolutely.
I thought, you know what, I'm going to do it. So that's why I went to school and I fell in love with the art of nurse coaching. And when I mean I
Hmm.
fell in love with it, I truly fell in love with it. And it's the mindset, right? Like I wish that they would speak to us in the nursing school about mindset. If we could
Hmm.
truly get our mind right and wrap it around and like shift it and look at perspectives differently,
Yeah.
we can truly change anything in this world. It's just, it's as simple as when you wake up and you're in a bad mood, right? For one reason or another.
Mm-hmm.
And you're like out and about and you see a little baby like giggling and like, you just like, oh, that makes me like in a better mood. It brings me joy, right? So it's no different with nurse coaching. Like if we can help others shift that mindset for a more positive outlook and to let them see the joy in this beautiful world that we're given, then we can truly help change lives. And so that's where I'm at. I know that was a lot to get there.
So awesome and so important. And I think I am hearing more and more about perimenopause. And maybe that's because I'm also at the beginning of that stages too. So I'm a little more aware of it. But it feels like it was never something discussed. So I really appreciate that, you're bringing some awareness to it, because I'm finding now it's like, well, sure, we know technically what menopause is, and we are taught that,
Yeah.
it's part of our prereqs in nursing school. So it's like, we know, like, okay, you no longer have a menstrual cycle, but nobody really talks about like the 5 to 10 years before.
Oh yeah, exactly. Exactly. It's like, well, and and that ranges, right? Like they're like 5 or 10 years, or it could be 7 to 12. And you're like, what am I supposed to do with like feeling like I'm an oven half the time and I'm irritable and
Yeah.
and all the other things that come with it, not just the weight gain. So
Yeah.
probably the one thing that I want to bring awareness to is mental health with it. Because
Hmm.
I never struggled with mental health. I never struggled with anxiety, nothing until I went into perimenopause, and the anxiety was real. Like it is
Hmm.
real and it can be debilitating. And I think it's really important to find your tribe. You have to find your people. Like I was fortunate. I have a great support system in my family,
Hmm.
but I reached out to my close friends and was like, listen, I'm not well right now. Like, I don't know
Yeah.
what's going on. I don't understand this, but I need to figure it out. And so it's important to have a support system. It's important to advocate for yourself, to talk to
Hmm.
your doctors, to say, what is this? And look at the options, because everybody, all of us have different options.
Yes.
And just because one thing is right for someone else may not be the path for somebody else. So just always, I guess my biggest thing is to know what's right for yourself,
Hmm.
what can help you. And so I found it. And one of the things that I found before I even knew about nurse coaching was meditation. And
Yeah.
and I pray, I'm very spiritual. So I would always pray, but I would use my prayer and my meditation. And so during 2020, I had Peloton. And so I don't want to mess his name up, but I think it's Ross Rayburn. He was my favorite
That's awesome.
meditation guy. So I just love him. A little shout out to him. He was great. So I remember like waking up, just waking up with like a drum on my chest. And I was like,
Hmm.
okay, I'm just going to get through this. And so I would get up, I would start meditation, and I could just hear like the softness of his voice. And I would just
Mm.
allow my emotions to be. So,
Hmm.
sometimes I would cry. Sometimes, you might giggle, whatever that feeling is, I allowed it, like I accepted it. And
Yeah.
I think that's like really important to share with other people, is to allow your emotions. And
Agreed.
because emotions will help you heal.
Yeah.
And so through it all, what I didn't realize at the time, and I realize it now, I wasn't just handling the change in my body. I was handling this grief that was
Mm.
just so enormous to me. And so when you're handling, I think we can all tick along, right? Like we're all used to the same routine. We're ticking, we're working hard, we've got our schedules, and we push, especially as women,
Yeah.
we push and we push and we push. We wear so many hats. How many hats do we wear? And we forget to take care of
Oh
ourselves,
yeah.
right? And
There's just not
so
time for that.
right, right. And so during that time, I was like pushing, and, here I had become a full-time teacher, like many of us in the
Hmm.
world, caring for my kiddos, trying to figure out this navigating COVID and all that. And I just kept ignoring the signs. My
Yeah.
body was trying to tell me, and then you get this grief on top of it. It was the perfect storm.
Yeah.
And it took me a while to get out of it. But the way I was able to was not one thing, it was several little
Yes.
things. And one of the big things was, instead of going to counseling or a therapist, by the grace of God, I found nurse coaching. And when I
Yeah.
became a client, I was able to really recognize the
Oh.
grief that I was suffering, and that I thought, whoa, wait a minute. I need to handle what's internal, what's going on within. And when you handle, and that's what we talk about, right? It's about getting to the root cause.
Yeah.
And that's what I talk to my clients all about. We have to get to that root, because if you don't get to the root, you can just put all the band-aids you want all around it, and it's never going to fix it.
Right.
And so I needed to heal from the losses. I needed to heal from them. And I needed to accept that my body was on a change. And you either accept it or you can fight it. But it's much better to accept it.
Yeah. And I think instinctively we do all try to fight it for a while until you get to a point where you're like, I can't do this anymore. I don't want to feel like this. It's not worth it. And then when you can finally face the grief, the anger, the frustration, the resentment, whatever it is that root cause is, that the incident or multiple incidents, but once you can do that, like you said, you can heal, and it doesn't mean it goes away or you pretend like it never happened, but you can at least figure out what's your new normal. How can you move forward? How can you improve your life, not having all these symptoms? And yeah, it's tough, but it's so worth it.
It is. And it's just part of our journey, right? Like we each have our own journey. And for me, it's been part of my journey. It's been, it's been a learning curve. It's humbled me greatly. Not that I wasn't humbled before, but I had to ask for help when I would have never asked for help from certain family members, right? Like, let's just put that out there. Like my pride was out there, and I had to humble myself to say, I'm uncomfortable today. Can you come and, whatever, help me drive into town or whatever? Because my anxiety actually started with driving. It wasn't like, it started, I had my very first panic attack in August of 2021 driving. And so it was driving. Driving was where my anxiety was induced. And so I had to really rely on my family, my husband. I called my sister, who lived an hour away, to help me get through it. Friends. And so needless to say, I'm 1,000% better. I've come over all that, but it's just the process of getting on the other side.
Yes.
So I think that when I went into perimenopause, all I could really find about it was weight gain, irritability, and hot flashes.
Yeah.
I couldn't really find much about it. Now, you are hearing about the anxiety. You're hearing people, suffer from depression, hair loss. I didn't know that was part of it, and there's so much more. And it's just like, if we can band together as women and really, really put it out there and advocate for each other and like say, hey, listen, I went through a rough time with it, but I'm on the other side. And you can get on the other side. You just have to figure out what works for you.
Yeah. Yeah. And that is the tricky thing, right? Because it's like everybody's symptoms can be very different. I love that you brought up meditation and sharing, and also your prayer practice. And I think, I can't remember if I said this to you at the conference, but I heard this one time and it resonated with me. Prayer is when you're talking to God, sharing what you need, your fears, your whatever. Yeah. Usually it's when you're having a conversation. And meditation is when you receive the message you need, the guidance, the support, the reassurance. And that just really stuck with me, because it's just beautiful how you can pair those practices together, and they really like what's the word, like support each other.
They mirror each other together. They really do. Oh, I love that. No, I don't think you, I don't remember hearing that, but I love that. I'm going to remember that.
Yeah.
It is true. Like, and I do say this 100%. And this is, these words are pretty powerful because it's the truth and it's how I feel. But I was sharing with my husband, I can see where people get truly lost. If they don't have a moral compass. And, for me, mine is my faith. And so when I went through these dark times, I personally heard God, like, I got you, Kelly, like, I get you through this. Like, this is a tough time, but I've got you. And I knew that I would come out on the other side stronger only through him. And so sitting here today, I wouldn't be a holistic nurse coach if it wasn't for my faith. It wasn't for taking that leap of faith of like, I know you have this purpose for me, a different purpose than when I started nursing. And if I can help one client, then I've done my job, right?
Yeah.
I've done what I'm meant to do.
Mm, that's beautiful.
Just how I feel.
So exciting. I've loved hearing you reflect on your journey. And I think it's so important that we share our
Yeah,
stories,
I agree.
especially the hard times, because I think it's really easy to look at somebody and be like, oh man, they got it all together. Right.
I
And then you're
actually,
like, oh, wait a second. Me too. I struggle with those things too. And it's normal for us to have hard times and we're not perfect. And, there is hope and but talking about it, I think really helps us to connect with each other and maybe this will work for me. Let me try this or try that. And so I appreciate you being so open about your journey.
oh, thank you. Yeah, absolutely. Anything to help others. And so, when you graduate from nurse coaching, like they always say, what's going to be your niche? Like, what are you going to do? And I don't really think it, I mean, I don't know, maybe some people really know what they're going to do right away. And, for me, I just thought, well, I thought about it back and forth and I thought, yes, I want to help women in perimenopause, but I really
Mhm.
just want women to know that whatever life throws us, I feel like in our
Mhm.
40s, we're thrown a lot. So, that you can get through it. I just help them get to the best version of themselves
Yeah.
through the chaos, right? Because each of us have our own chaos,
Yes.
especially at this middle age. Like we have parents aging,
Mhm.
grandparents passing, kids going to college, or my case, I started late. So I have a element of grade school, middle school, So we have all these different things going on that it's like if I can really help women of my age
Mhm.
to feel they're like just themselves again,
Yeah.
then that's who I want to work with. Like I just want to help
Beautiful.
them to find their joy again.
Yeah, beautiful. So are you doing coaching full time now,
Yeah.
essentially?
Yes,
Good for
I'm full
you.
time. I mean, the hours are probably not full time, but I'm full time. Like
Oh,
I'm
amazing.
trying.
And I bet that's just it's so nice to have that flexibility of being able to, make your own hours and work with the people that you want to work with, especially when you've got kiddos, that it's a lot to deal with. Like you said, you're kind of split between the
Yeah.
aging parents and young kiddos and trying to make all of that work.
You
It's
are, you
challenging.
are, you are. And so, I'm just really trying to put myself out there and, I've been involved more in the community. So, back in the summertime, they had these community walks on
Mm,
Fridays. And so I
mhm.
thought, you know what, I'm just going to be part of that. Like I never really went into the attention, like I'm going to get clients. I just
Right.
wanted to be immersed in my community. And
Yeah.
so that has been helpful into growing my business because the
Mhm.
more you get out there and the more you speak about it and you're showing up for yourself, people can see
Yes.
what it is and they see you because we represent what we do because it's
Yeah,
us, right?
absolutely.
So but yes, I'm trying to be full-time. I mean, technically, I have a handful of clients, but I did write a proposal for a small business. Well, actually two businesses. And so the one I haven't heard back from, the other one is intrigued. And so
Exciting.
it is exciting. It is, but it's one of those things that you just keep doing, right? Like you
Yeah.
just keep putting yourself out there. Like I'm going to do this holiday sip and shop here coming up this week. And so that's again, putting myself in my community, letting them
Mhm.
know that I'm a resource right
Yeah.
here locally because I come from a very
Beautiful.
small area. I mean, I live in a very rural area. We have 3 stoplights.
Ah,
Um,
and where are you located again?
I'm in Ohio, but I'm out in the farmland. So
Yeah.
I'm probably sandwiched between Columbus, Ohio and Cleveland. And
Oh,
but the town I was raised in has 1 stoplight. The town I live in has 3
I
stoplights.
love it.
So, I mean, just being able to bring nurse coaching to our community,
Yes.
that's huge because you don't have to drive
Incredible.
an hour to Columbus or an hour and a half to
Yeah.
Cleveland or, and also I do work with clients online and that has been
Mhm.
very helpful and for
Mhm.
them, even local, like some local clients I have worked online. If they're just having a day that they
Yeah.
don't want to come in, that's fine. So
Oh, awesome. And I think it's so beautiful. The more and more I connect with other nurse coaches, just to see the impact that we're starting to have in our local communities as well as our distant virtual communities. It's pretty incredible the impact that we're starting to see with our budding specialty.
it is, it's exciting, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah, it really is. So you've got, potentially, you've got this event coming up, potentially be working with some small businesses. And now would you be coaching their employees like as an added benefit to like employ like EAP services? Like what would that look like for you, think?
Okay, so the one is coaching their employees over just communication, time
Okay.
organization, um,
Oh.
also self-care for them. So the owner just recognizes that it's a small business
Hmm.
that his staff they don't really take a lot of time for
Mm.
themselves. So it's really
Hmm.
about just working with their self-care and
Yeah.
how, because they are in a wellness business. So
Okay.
so it's funny. It's like no different than what I was just saying about a mom. Like, right? We provide for others, but it's time
Yes.
to actually provide for you because if that well is dry, you can't get.
And we see that same theme with nurses.
We do all the time. So that was one situation. I mean, I wrote the proposal a couple weeks ago, so
Ah,
nothing has come about it yet, but at least I'm putting myself out there for it.
yes,
And then,
yes,
and we had several conversations before the proposal was written. So I do think
yeah,
that's important to say. It's like, I feel
yeah,
like you are going to have several conversations before
yes,
something's written. And then
yeah.
the second one is going to happen. It's in January, and I'm going to work with potentially, I know, five staff members from a service, or I'm trying to think here, just the small business. They're going through a big transition.
Okay,
So I will coach them through a transition. And
beautiful.
so I'm excited about that,
Hmm.
just to help them because, transitions are scary and there's a lot
Hmm.
of fear and change when change is hard. So that's going to be, I do know that is going to happen. So that's a good thing.
Amazing. And how awesome it is it that an employer is willing to support their staff that way.
I
And
know.
I think it's incredible because it's like when when you feel cared for as a human, that your employer like that they want to support you, whether it's a change or just for life and taking care of yourself, then you're more likely to want to stay with them. You're more likely to want to invest your time and your energy into that employer. And so
Yeah. And
it's
this
some of the work I'm
employer,
doing for the hospital. It's like we care for you as humans. Like
yeah.
I want you to be happy and healthy and take care of yourself, because then when you do that, you're going to be a more fulfilled human and a safer nurse, and you're going to feel more connected here, and then eventually we'll see that trickle down to safer patient outcomes, happier patients, happier staff. So I mean, there is absolutely this ripple effect.
Absolutely. I agree 110% with you. And this employer, I mean, she's amazing. And I think her girls see that. I mean, what she's been offering for
Yeah.
them is just really awesome.
Oh,
So I really feel just honestly honored that she had asked me to work with the staff.
beautiful.
So I'm excited. I'm excited to see a great transition for them.
Yeah, very
But I
cool.
agree, it is a ripple. It is, sorry,
Yeah.
it is a ripple effect. I mean, it really is. And the more that
Mhm,
us nurses, nurse coaches can get out there and
mhm.
just show like what nurse coaching is,
Yeah.
it really is a beautiful gift.
Oh, I love it. Oh, Kelly, it's been so good chatting with you. I'm wondering, the last couple minutes as we're wrapping up, do you have any final thoughts, anything that's coming up that you want to share with the community today?
Ooh, I think more than anything, I would like to share to always be authentic to yourself. Like always
Mm,
stay true to who you are. And when you know that something feels off, follow your
mm,
spirit. Like just
mhm.
follow it, whatever situation it is, whatever comes up. We are our advocates. We
Yes.
we know ourselves the best. And so just stay true to who you are and don't ignore that little whisper.
Yes. Oh, so true. So true. Well, thank you again, Kelly. It has been lovely chatting with you today. I'm so excited for all you have coming up. And where can people find you?
They can find me the holisticnursecoach.org. And so that's my website that will be up and running, but
Yay.
I'm on social media as well. So Instagram, Kelly the Nurse Coach, or Facebook, the Holistic Nurse Coach.
Beautiful. Awesome. Well, thank you again. Appreciate it.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate it, Jen. It's always just good to
Absolutely.
see you and connect with you.
Agreed. Agreed. All right. Thank you, everybody. We'll see you next time. Bye.
Bye.